All right. Well, what's up? So, another 9/11. Another 9/11. And what's changed? What's happened? Has anything gotten any better? Right? With another 9/11 under our belt. Well, I gotta say, first of all, no. Right? That's what I gotta say. No. No, it's not gotten any better. No, it's not. We're not safer. We're not freer. Not none of it. Right? So, I don't know what to tell anybody other than I got really shitty camera kind of thing going on here. But fuck it, I don't care. I've seen worse. Right? So I'm trying. So we'll deal. Anyway. So, I've been thinking about it all day. I've been trying to stay off of media for the most part, here and there. But look, a good friend of mine, a guy I grew up with, died that day, going into that building. He was one of the 343 firefighters. And I gotta tell you, I know he'd be disgusted, at least as much as I am, at this point in life and in America, where, it seems like nothing's changed, right? In a lot of ways, but so much has changed. We are so less free today than we were on 9/10 of 2001. And here it is 17 years later. And people still, they're living under the illusion of freedom. And they're, for the most part, people are happy, right? For the most part. I mean, the Trump haters are reveling in their hatred, right? And the Trump sycophants are reveling in whatever he does, right? I mean, I got to admit, I'm still enjoying the shit out of it because to me it's the Joker in Washington, causing constant strife and exposing everything through the strife. But even with the deep state being exposed, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. And that's the state of our union. Right? Is nobody gives a rat's ass. Let's see, I can get a little closer, I guess, and put this down so I can enjoy my cigarette. Anyway, nobody gives a rat's ass. It's funny because every once in a while I'll jump onto HD's chats or whatever, and I still follow HD because HD and Tony, happy birthday, by the way, Tone, or whatever the hell that birthday thing was. I just saw it just came up in my feed. I didn't actually watch it, but I did kind of watch a little bit of HD's, and he was making some good points about how less free we are today, than we were on 9/10 of 2001, and we all know that, right? How's it going, Tommy boy? How's it going, Daniel? We're spied on more. We're spied on every day. We're fed propaganda even more every day, right? And the last NDAA made it perfectly legal for them for the government to give us, to spoon feed us propaganda, which you see every day with the Russia, 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 Russia. China is the real, if there's a geopolitical enemy, it would be China, but, Russia's not it. But they're a great distraction to half the country or a good portion of the country, right? Just like so is every time fucking Trump farts, every time. He goes on Twitter and he shoots off his fucking mouth and people lose their fucking minds and then expose the hypocrisy when they lose their minds because, guess what? Most of the time it can be proven at least they had that same position at one time or another, right? And our deep state's being exposed. I mean, even if they're American citizens. I mean, no matter what take you get from this fucking Russia bullshit, the one thing for sure it's done is exposed how the deep state, if they want to get you, they will. Right? Now, were they successful? Not at the time, but they sure were fucking trying. Right? Some way to have some power over Trump to be able to pull him in line. And that's what all this is about. So, where are we now 17 years later? Because to me, the whole world changed on 9/11/2001, right? To me, it was a whole new universe from there on in, right? Now, I knew about spying, I knew about all that shit long before that. I was what would be called a conspiracy nut, you know, uh, long before that. But when I saw those buildings go down and them trying to tell me and trying to tell people I knew who, when you get them drunk, you hear the real truth. This firemen who come up to my bar and drink for free, because that's what I did for the next year and until I fucking went bankrupt. Was I let fucking firefighters and cops from NYPD and FDNY drink for free up in my bar, right? And you get them because one of them was my brother-in-law. So you'd get them drunk and you'd listen to their stories, and you hear tell they never bought that fucking. Anyway, my own conspiracy theories. But after 9/11, it was dramatic. It was a drastic change of my awareness, right? And that was the mark of the new millennium to me, right? Was 9/11, not January 1st, 2001, right? It was September 11th, 2001 was the mark of the new millennium for me. And it's been a downhill. Look, people believe. I don't know, what does freedom really mean? People believe they're free. They fucking look. You talk to people in California who have to jump through. Gun people in California, they're still in California. Daily Shooter, love watching that guy, right? But I keep hearing it every time I hear him bitch. I keep thinking, why haven't you left? Well, enough for him to stay, right? So staying under a tyrannical government is okay if you live in a supposedly free country, right? Same with guys in New York, Same with guys in New Jersey. Fuck New Jersey, man. Jesus Christ. On one hand, New Jersey will arrest you for not having a fucking. I mean, this is how free we are in 2018, right? New Jersey will arrest you for not having a bell on your bike. But it's okay if the head of a county SWAT team is, a pedophile and got busted trying to hook up with a 14-year-old girl. Right? But thin blue line, right? Fuck. That's why I see people who, are cops or people who, want to support the police, which, whatever. But then they want to do, you see the juxtaposition of a flag with a blue stripe, right, with a "come and take it" sticker or some shit, and it's like, man, you really are not getting the program, are you? Guess who's coming to take that fucking gun from you? Guess who's implemented everybody who flies the "I support cop" flag. I don't have a problem with cops because I'm free, white, and over 21, right? And I keep having less and less problem with cops these days. It's funny, the older I get and the longer my white beard gets. But that being said, who do you think's implementing all this shit? All this, who do you think is the actual ground people implementing taking your freedom, right? Taking your freedom. You can't film on a boardwalk in New Jersey anymore, right? Without permission. Distinct permission from the town to be able to film your vacation on a boardwalk in New Jersey. Right? You can't ride around on a bicycle without a fucking bell on the Jersey Shore in places. Right? So, I mean, and I'm not even talking firearms. I'm just talking freedom, right? Than anybody. Right? And let's talk about how the Obama administration, Obama, when you start paying attention to what the fuck is going on, it's not good. We've not gotten better in 17 years, right? So I look at my daughter, 17 years old. That morning, I was in New York. I was in upstate New York, and I was looking over, and I lived in Sullivan County, New York, right outside of Liberty, and at the top of a mountain. There was nothing else to call it. Right on the lee side of where I just had to walk 150 feet up to the top of my hill, right, from my driveway with my daughter in my arms to see the pillar of smoke coming from New York, the direction of New York City. And like I said, my brother-in-law, he was working the harbor that day. My friend who I went to high school with, who I hadn't talked to in years, I didn't find out anything that happened to him until afterwards. But my friend who we were besties in grade school, you know, he, he was a firefighter, and he was working that day, and he, answered the call and went down there and was in the building when I think Tower 2 collapsed, you know? And all that being said, they took that for whatever it was, right? My conspiracy theory, your conspiracy theory, no conspiracy theory, take them at their word, whatever the fuck they did. And instead of using that moment to shine the light of freedom into the world, right? What they did was they took that moment and used it to spy on the world. Not just us, right? They spy on every leader of the world, which I expect them to do. I expect them to spy on the rest of the world, but leave us the fuck alone. And that's absolutely not the case. We are not freer today than we were 17 years ago. We are spied on more. Our information's gathered more. It's shared. It's hampered, right? More, you know. And being an advocate of free speech these days, way scarier than it's ever been, at least in my lifetime. So today I mourn the 3,000 people, especially the 343 firefighters that gave their lives, mainly because I knew one of them, to be 100% honest. But and his name is Dennis Mulligan. If you want to look him up, Mulligan, Mulligan, I think. Pretty sure. Anyway, look, I don't do these much anymore, and like I was trying to say earlier, HDP keeps wanting me to do a dragon every once in a while, and you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna. It was good at the time. It was an excellent platform for free speech at the time, but right now, free speech is dead in America. You can try, but you're going to get shut down. When they shut down Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is a buffoon, right? Now, but like the National Enquirer, you know, every once in a while they get shit right, you know? I mean, every time anybody brings up fake news and brings up that kind of stuff, I just bring up, Hart, Gary Hart. Anybody remembers Gary Hart? Right? What's up, Tone? What's up, Kevin? What's up, Stinger? You know, I and a lot of us, all got a giant wake up call on 9/11 2001, you know? We all got these giant wake up calls. And I ask y'all, all y'all who are friends with me over the years here online, right? I ask all of y'all, what do you think? All right, no, that tree's gonna keep blocking the sun. Okay, so what do you think? Do you think we're freer now? Think we're freer now than we ever were? I mean, look, okay, so some things we have, there's trinkets we're freer, right? I mean, I look at the 2004 assault weapons ban that never made it, right? And the fact that they didn't re-up it and it didn't get signed. So now we have ARs and AKs and however we want them. And it's a continuous distraction of the fight trying to get rid of them, right? The numbers really haven't changed much on how many, school shootings there are each year. The numbers really have, and if you look at statistics, they're not people, but they are statistics and they're valid, right? So we're actually in ways safer, but you never know it because the propaganda machine can't make you think you're safer because you won't give up any more freedom if you think you're safe. You know, school shootings are down, right? Mass shootings are down. The amount of deaths by rifle down statistically, blah, 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 right? And so we're given these trinkets to think that we're freer, but we're really not, right? You're not going to be able to travel without real ID, quote unquote. The special licenses you're going to need to have, which tie into the federal government from your state to be able to travel interstate any longer, right? You'll be able to do it by vehicle, but you're not going to be able to do it by any kind of public transportation, flying, unless you own a plane, right? Any of that shit. You'll need the internal ID of the United States, which is hooked into your driver's license. It's just ridiculous. You know what? I really ought to need. I really should read some of these. But you guys know as well as anybody could. I just tend to do these things rolling with what I'm thinking about, and I got to tell you, it's funny because I'm sitting in the truck, and it's another beautiful 9/11. Right, that day was fucking absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, just like this, not a cloud in the fucking sky. Right. That's awesome. If you do a chat later, Stinger, I'll try and make it in. But and I look around and there's, I'm actually outside my house because my grandson's being all noisy and stuff, and just everybody else is living. So I'm sitting in the truck here, but I'm looking around my neighborhood, and there's people over at the ball diamonds playing. There's kids running around in the grass having fun. It's Norman Rockwell flag flying in a slight breeze as fall balls getting ready to be played. You know, and you look around and you think, yeah, man, freest country in the fucking world, greatest country, freest country in the world. And you look at these people and you wonder how many are awake and how many are asleep. How many understand what's really going on and just taking a moment out of their, grind of their life to go play softball or hang with family or watch somebody play softball. But they're woke enough to know what's really going on. And how many aren't? How many are just like, fuck it? It doesn't affect me. So, fuck it, not my job. Doesn't affect me, so I'm just going to roll on, right? And the fact that I have less freedom than my grandparents did, less freedom than my parents did, less freedom than my great grandparents did, who fought in a war against the very fascism that's slowly taking over our country. And yet, I look around and people are happy, right? Yeah, free speech and privacy are things of the past. Don't speak out a dissenting opinion from the one that's, the one that's acceptable. And privacy. Privacy? Please explain to me where you have privacy anymore, except in your own house when you turn off or unplug or disconnect all your electronics, right? I think the closest person I've known to have privacy in the past year was probably when Stinger and Heidi were up doing, trying to do the off-grid.